He grew up in the New York area, went to B.C. He's sharp as a tack. You're going to tell here in one sec. Part of that big trade that the Mets made a couple of years ago. Justin, nice to talk. Christopher Russo, how are you today, okay?
I'm good. Thank you again for having me on here.
You got it, Sharp. Good job there. All right, let's do two things. You got drafted out of high school by L.A. You decided to go to B.C. It's a nice option. And then a first-round pick 3 years later. So that was a good decision. Let's talk about that first. Go ahead.
Yeah, so going back to high school, I was little, about 5'4", 5'5", going into my senior year, 140 pounds. So when I got drafted, I hit a little growth spurt, about 5'8", maybe 5'8", between 5'8", 5'10". And my dad kind of sat me down at the kitchen table and said, listen, are you ready to go to work? Are you ready to go fight with grown men? Are you ready to compete for a job every day and not be at home and have to pay your own bills? And kind of realized that I was nowhere near ready for that and decided to go to college and mature, and both physically and emotionally, mentally, and then go back 3 years later and see where I was at.
Nah, great move. Were you a Met fan or a Yankee fan growing up in New York?
No, sir. I was a Yankee fan. Didn't really have a choice. My dad kind of forced it on me.
Oh, listen, nothing wrong with that. The Yankees, obviously, all those championships. So you were, probably a little later, but they're always very competitive. You had to be happy though that you were drafted by the Mets, hometown New York. You had to be pleased when they made your first-round pick there a few years ago. No?
Oh, absolutely ecstatic. I mean, at the time, still to this day, they have one of the best staffs in baseball. So when I got drafted, the first thought was I get to learn from the guys who made DeGrom, who made Syndergaard, who made Matz, the pitchers that they are. So I was ecstatic about that, and then to know that Citi Field was 25 to 30 minutes from my house. I could get called up and say, fly me into JFK. I'll go stay at home until I figure out my bearings and figure out what I want to do with myself. Was amazing. My mom could see me play. My brother could see me play. My friends could see me play. My girlfriend, they could all be there close. So it was a blessing, and I was extremely happy about it.
And listen, African American, we know that the baseball's done a great job there. You were probably a great athlete in high school. You picked baseball. It's a harder road to stardom in that sport. Give me your thoughts on that process, Justin. Let me hear.
Yeah, so I'm one of the unique ones. I gravitated towards a baseball, I guess, from out of the womb. My mom said I didn't pick anything else up, so I didn't really know anything else. I grew up going to games with my dad, and I didn't really have any other option. My brother, on the other hand, we forced him on baseball and found out basketball was his calling. So I'm a big advocate of playing three sports, especially after going to boarding school. They kind of forced it on me, and that's where I really learned my athleticism of playing different sports and how to translate movements into baseball.
Good job on your part. All right, now, you learned the business of it pretty quick, getting traded to Seattle. Good and bad there. An opportunity to make the major leagues quicker, which you like. But it's the Pacific Northwest. That's a young kid like that right out of college. And all of a sudden, you're in the other league, in the other division, 3,000 miles away from home. That's tricky for a young 20-year-old or whatever you were, 22, 23-year-old. Give me some thoughts on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. It was tough to handle at first. I mean, obviously, the bittersweet of leaving home, for sure. But being happy about the opportunity and realizing that I was going into a good situation. I've been saying since it happened in 2016, if you'd asked me out of the draft, I'm going to Seattle. So it was just my way of going back full circle of where I was supposed to be and in a system that wanted me and was happy to have me. But definitely a culture shock being in the West Coast. That was the furthest west I've ever been to that point. So I love it now, but it was definitely tough to swallow at first.
All right, did the family make your debut back in September?
Yes, sir. Mom, dad, brother, girlfriend, all made it out.
All right, give me a little rundown on that start. I refresh. How'd you do in that start? Who was it against? How many innings did you go? Give me a little rundown on that first Major League appearance for you. Go ahead.
I mean, ideally, I don't want to talk about that one, but it was really quick. I don't even honestly call it a start. I got 2 outs, 5 walks later, and a couple fly balls, but it was a great learning experience. I mean, got the jitters out of the way, kind of helped me get back to breathing and get back into my routine. And honestly, glad that I had the bump in the road. Made me tougher. It's going to make the story better in the long run, I'm hoping. So it was a good one to get out of the way, like I said, but excited I was able to build off of it and just keep going.
Hey, you made the major leagues. Case closed. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
4 appearances last year you made. What was your best one? Did you have a start where you went 4, 5 solid innings? Did you have an appearance like that? Or the Mariners keep you on pitch counts and only have you pitch, 2 or 3 innings at a time? How'd that work out?
Yes, sir. Only 2 innings at a time. Just trying to limit my innings. Just kind of wanted to get my feet wet. But the best outing for me was Houston. That's kind of where I first started to feel like myself. Challenging hitters. The slider was there. The curveball was there. Fastball had some life. Changeup had good depth. My heart rate was normal. The stadium kind of shrunk a little bit for me. So Houston was my coming out party for myself. And then Oakland was a pretty good outing as well.
Good job for that. Okay, you played with Alonso and McNeil and also Rojas in that Mets system. Alonso, you probably had a lot of, you knew McNeil could hit, and obviously Alonso hitting all those home runs. How about the manager? Now that he's got in the big role, I mean, he's done it at every level. Did you love Rojas coming up through the Met organization?
Absolutely love Rojas. Absolutely love him. He was one of my favorite managers to play for. Kept it light in the clubhouse. You had no problems going to approach him. You had no problems with his criticism. Wasn't the manager when you see him coming at you, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in trouble. He could just be coming up to you to get to know you, learn about the family, ask how your family's doing. He always had his kids around. Just top to bottom class act, and I'm extremely happy for him.
All right, 2 less quickies. You've done a great job here. I'll keep you on forever. The first one, do the Mariners plan on putting you in a rotation start of the year in April? What is the game plan as you head to Peoria for spring training?
I don't know on that one. You're going to have to ask them that one. I can tell you that I'm going to go in ready to go, fight for a job from day one, and give everything I got to break with the team. That's my goal, and I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen.
All right, number 2, you have to be. I know you used to listen to the old radio shows,
yes.
So you must be a sports fan. Let me get a prediction. Niners Chiefs on Sunday afternoon.
One of my teammates, Sam Tuivalu, is going to be a little upset with me, but I'm going to go with Kansas City. So I'm sorry, Tui, but I like Mahomes. I think they're just going to kind of run away with this one.
You know, I tell you, he is so good, and he's got a lot of poise. He plays well. They got a heck of a chance.
Yes,
Justin, we will talk soon. I want to see you have good years, so when I pick you, when we call you, you get to a ballpark camp. Great job. Thanks
Yes,
for a lot of time here today. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you.